We will begin with the special song, Pitchu B'Chesed, in honor of our refugee Shabbat. Pitchu B'Chesed, Pitchu B'Ahava, Pitchu B'Tzedek, Navovam, Navovam. Pitchu B'Chesed, Pitchu B'Ahava, Pitchu B'Tzedek, Navovam, Navovam. Pitchu
B'Chesed,
open up in love, in justice and love. Open up and let them in, let them in. Open up in love, in justice and love. Open up and let them in, let them in. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Pitchu B'Ahava, Pitchu B'Tzedek, Navovam, Navovam. Pitchu B'Chesed, Pitchu B'Ahava, Pitchu B'Tzedek, Navovam, Navovam. Let them in, let them in.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good to see all of you with us tonight. Passover is upon us, and the way I really know that is that I ran into no less than 20 congregants at Agada and Valentina this morning at 8:15 this morning as we were all trying to beat the Seder shopping rush. Passover is all about food, or at least it seems like it is, especially if you're hosting. Of course, the central food of Passover is not the brisket or Omi's apple cake, although I really like those things. The central food is actually matzah, called by our tradition lechem oni, the bread of affliction, as we recall our people's experience of being enslaved, of being the other in Egypt. This theme is sadly evergreen in our world as our nation asks itself once again, what kind of America will America be? Shall this house be a safe place for all peoples or only for some privileged few? Fortunately, on Refugee Shabbat tonight, we will be blessed to learn from Isabel Burton, an incredible leader at HIAS, an organization that we Jews are very familiar with. We look forward to hearing her words later on this evening. And before Passover begins, we will find rest and renewal together in this Shabbat as we begin with blessing the Shabbat candles and with Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, b'tzivanu, v'hadlik ner, v'hadlik ner, shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, בשבת קודשו, באהבה וברצון, הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית. כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים. בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים. Continuing welcoming Shabbat with song as we continue with Lecha Dodi.
When we come to the final verse of Lecha Dodi, we'll stand and face the entrance to our sanctuary.
Lecha Dodi Likra Kala B'nei Shabbat Tekabela. Lecha Dodi Likra Kala B'nei Shabbat Tekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad, Ishmianu el hamyukad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, Shemu tiferet v'lithilah. Lecha Dodi Likra Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Dodi Likra Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela.
Likrat Shabbat lechu benelcha, ki hi mekor ha-beracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki ba'orech kumi uri, 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 shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Boi v'shalom Ateret bala Am besimcha uvtzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala.
lecha dodi vikra kala Erev Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi vikra kala Erev Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi vikra kala Erev Shabbat nekabela.
Having greeted each other, and Sarah, thank you for being the Shabbat bride who came in at just the right moment. We're so glad that we can be together. So let's greet one another, wish each other Shabbat Shalom, reach around to all the people around you, wish them Shabbat Shalom. We're going to remain standing for Baruch Hu.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai.
Please be seated. Shabbat gives us an opportunity to slow down, to be present to our souls, to be present to what's in our hearts, to hear one another, and to listen to the Holy One of Blessing. We continue now with our prayer that calls us to listen. We continue with Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh Asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'lechtecha b'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem. As hard as it is for us to believe as Jews who have found safe haven from affliction for generations here in America, having crossed sea after sea after sea, fleeing tyrants, our federal government is now applying a centuries-old wartime law in order to bypass the due process and human rights of immigrants with horrifying consequences. The Alien Enemies Act of 1798 was last invoked during World War II to imprison over 120,000 individuals of Japanese descent in internment camps. It is a stain on our history. And yet this year, as we always do, we will end our Seders with the words, L'Shana Haba'a B'Yerushalayim Habnuya, next year in a rebuilt Jerusalem. This is an endlessly optimistic statement, a demand really, calling upon us to make redemption possible again in our time. We have stood on the parted shores of history, and now we ask, do we still believe what we were taught? And will we act as if we remember?
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught. Before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it's eternally Egypt. That there's a better place, a promised land, and the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together, singing ya ya la 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 la, ya ya la 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 ya la la, ya ya la 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 la, ya ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha netar b'kodesh, Torah tehilot osei peleh, osei peleh. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, motei hayam, lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'eli anu v'yamru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Singing ya ya la 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 la, ya ya la 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 ya la la, ya ya la 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 la, ya ya la 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 la. V'nemar ki fadar Adonai et Yaakov, ugalo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. לחיים, השיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
ושמות צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם. השיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
והעמידנו
אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We invite you to rise as we continue with the Amidah. Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך Adonai. Open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. O Adonai, Sifatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid, Tehilatecha, Adonai. Open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zoker Chastei Avot B'imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer, U'Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol, Atah Rav Lehoshia. Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem, mechalkel kayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofech olim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, Nishenei afar, michamocha bal gevurot, umido melach, melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'neman ata l'hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. Ata kadosh shimcha kadosh, ukadoshim b'chol yom yahalalu kasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated. My friends, we have been resisting tyrants since Pharaoh. The Jewish people fleeing Pharaoh reached the shores of the Red Sea and they hesitated. They had a choice to make. Go forward and risk drowning. Stop and be killed by the pursuing Egyptian army. In this moment, the story goes, Nachshon ben Aminadab, brother-in-law of the biblical Aaron, took a first step into the foreboding, swirling sea. The waters miraculously parted. The newly freed slaves crossed to safety, and the waters crashed back down, drowning the Egyptians who pursued them. This well-known parable reinforces the importance of daring and courageous leadership when faced with danger and the unknown. As we take now a moment for personal reflection, let us think of the heroes of Jewish history, the heroes of our own families who fled oppression on distant shores and took a chance to make for freedom. And let's consider what it would take for each of us to find the courage to take a first step into a stormy sea.
my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember? Bring me sprigs of rosemary, be my sanctuary till I can carry on, carry on, carry on. This one knocked me to the ground, this one brought me to my knees. I should have seen it coming, but it surprised me. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember? Bring me sprigs of rosemary, be my sanctuary till I can carry on, carry on, carry on. In a state of true believers, on streets called us and them, it's gonna take some time till the world feels safe again. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember? Bring me sprigs of rosemary, be my sanctuary till I can carry on, carry on, carry on.
Thank you, Cantor. We take this opportunity in our service to think of our circle of family and friends, those we're thinking of who are in need of healing, healing of body, healing of spirits. We have here on the screens names of members of our community that we know we're remembering, we're thinking about. If there's someone you're thinking of, someone you're praying for healing, I invite you to mention their names aloud. We think of all of them. We lift them up in our prayers. We think of those who are struggling with addiction and those in recovery. For all of them, we ask God's blessings of healing as we sing Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. sheberat imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
One of the many reasons I'm honored to serve this congregation is because we have many people in the congregation who live in the spirit of Nachshon ben Aminadav, who are willing to step into the waters when it's unclear, but they know it's the right thing to do to step forward. And one of those people is our friend Jolie Schwab, and I'm going to invite her forward to introduce our very special guest tonight.
Well, is there a more fitting time to dedicate a service to refugees and immigrants than just before Passover? The Exodus story reminds us to welcome the stranger, for we were once strangers in a foreign land. Hias, which welcomed so many of our families when they came to America's shores, reminds us that we were once refugees too. And over the years, Hias has expanded its work from focusing primarily on Jews to becoming a global Jewish nonprofit that protects refugees whose lives are in danger for being who they are. And we stand up for them, not because of who they are, but because of who we are. And that's very important to remember. We're at a point of moral flexion right now. When Sherry Tefila joined the New York Synagogue Coalition on the refugee and immigration crisis in 2017, which now includes about 24 different New York City-based congregations and organizations, we answered Hias's call to welcome and help resettle 2 refugee families, and Alyssa Mosbacher and I led the first effort. I want to give you a really short update on those 2 families because they're very much affected by what's going on today. First, Amira and Muthana al-Abadai and their son Mohammed, who now live in Phoenix, they left Brooklyn about 6 months after they arrived here to live with a nephew in Michigan, but followed their son to Phoenix, where he now owns a small fleet of cars for rent. Amira and their son Mohammed are now U.S. citizens. Mohammed has a wife or fiancée. I'm really not sure. They had a big betrothal ceremony, and I got to watch on Zoom. I'm not sure they had the formal marriage yet, but that's a problem because he can't bring Tanya here. He's been waiting over a year and a half now, and it's been impossible to bring her here. At my suggestion, they've reached out to their U.S. senators and congresspeople, and they're trying, but it doesn't look too promising right now. Our second family, a couple, Harun and Muqaddas Hassani, are doing well. They're living at the same apartment we found for them, or Jen Wendy found for them. She's amazing in that regard, about 3 years ago, and they both have the same jobs. Harun is working for Vernado, and Muqaddas is working in a dentist's office. But the difficult thing for them is that their mothers and various siblings who had fled Afghanistan to Pakistan and had passed all their background checks and were fully approved to come to the United States as refugees were supposed to get on flights about 3 days before those flights were canceled, and they'd already sold many of their possessions. And meanwhile, in Pakistan, they're worried that they'll be arrested and deported back to Afghanistan. You know, today there was some really bad news about that Columbia student who was approved by a court in Louisiana to get deported now because of his position in free speech. We may not like what his speech was, but we have to defend his right to say it. Imagine if it was an Israeli green card holder who was speaking out on the tariffs or something and the administration decided to deport them. We need to remember who we are. So Isabel today is going to tell us what's going on, how the whole asylum and refugee program in the U.S. is being dismantled, and what the Jewish community can do about it. Before she gets up here, before I introduce herself, I want to give you some advice for this Passover that my mentor, Ruth Messenger, made. At your Seder tables, please share with your children and grandchildren what your immigration story was so they can learn it was not so long ago. And I just think it makes it less remote, right? Why we need to be speaking up for people. I'm really pleased to introduce Isabel, who helped bring Sherry Tefillah to Hayas. She's the Senior Director of Community Engagement Initiatives at Hayas. She oversees initiatives that enables American Jewish community to act in support of refugees through public events, volunteer and educational opportunities, and grassroots advocacy. Prior to joining Hayas, Isabel worked in a nonprofit management, community organizing, and community development, both in congregational settings and in agencies in the US and the UK. She comes to almost every Synagogue Coalition meeting, where I still get to see her face in a little Zoom box. She holds a BA in anthropology from Oxford University in the UK and a master's in international development from SAOS University of London. Isabel lives with her family in Brooklyn, and I'm so delighted you could join us tonight.
Oh, it's bright up here. Good evening, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Will you hold your hand? Oh, that was better. Will you hold your hand up if you can't hear me? Jolie hinted at the fact that I have an English accent because I went to university in England, but I'm also English. I have been here. I'm a very privileged immigrant to the US. I've been here for 15 years or so. And I became a citizen during the last Trump administration because I realized I was organizing some protests. And I thought in a sort of half serious, half jokey way, oh, I should become a citizen because I could easily do so because my husband is. And I became a citizen. And now it feels like a very good choice. So, right now, at Hayas, we are steeling ourselves against the many, many changes that the federal administration has brought. Our country's approach to refugees, to asylum seekers, to immigrants has shifted even more dramatically and more swiftly than I think any of us expected. And not to be too negative, because I truly believe we have a real opportunity to fight back and to continue to do important work, but it has left us in a dreadful, dystopian place. It feels all the more important that we gather together at these opportunities to learn, to celebrate what we have done, and to plan what we can do together. Woe to our society if to be human becomes a heroic act. Elie Wiesel, the Holocaust survivor and the prophetic voice of moral consciousness in the second half of the 20th century, delivered these words. But he did not deliver them on Yom HaShoah or on International Holocaust Remembrance Day. He preached them in 1985 in Tucson, Arizona, at a conference for the nascent sanctuary movement. This movement of community activists, faith leaders, and legal advocates emerged as it became clear that the US government was systematically deporting people back to the persecution and violence they had fled in Central America. In spite of our articulated national commitment to refugees and asylum seekers, woe to our society if to be human becomes a heroic act. Elie Wiesel's moral authority derived from the horror of persecution he faced as a Jew. If he had any reservations about falsely equating the atrocities of the Holocaust to the persecution of regimes half a century later and half a world away, he did not make them known. Often, people and governments that represent us possess an uncanny ability to contextualize, excuse, or ignore gross violations of our core principles when they fail a test of political expediency. But those who are often most deeply scarred by such horrors possess less tolerance for equivocating nuance. Woe to our society if to be human becomes a heroic act. His admonition would feel prophetic in any era. today, at this moment, it hits so incredibly hard. The government that initiated the refugee admissions program with unanimous bipartisan support, that celebrated our national identity as the inevitable conclusion of hard-working immigrants, feels unrecognizable when leaders now in power, bolstered by their followers, demonize, dehumanize, and reject the pleas of the vulnerable. Woe to our society indeed. In recent years, our leaders have found increasingly creative ways to choke off access to the rights we once sought to champion. January 20th accelerated a trend that was already firmly taking root. What we face now is devastating. The US refugee admissions program has been shut down. Essential programs that provide clean water, shelter, medical care, and other critical services around the world have been suspended. Just within HIAS's realm of service, this translates to 450,000 people globally no longer receiving our services, including, to name a few, 53,000 people fleeing conflict in Sudan who won't have access to life-saving care in Chad. 13,000 people in Costa Rica will no longer receive legal protection services to help them access employment, medical care, education, etc. And the list goes on. I'm not going to let you wallow in them too much. There have been a flurry of announcements since the inauguration that strip away protections from those who need it most. Among those decisions include a national emergency declared at the border to both deploy active duty troops and allow for the construction of the border wall. And in fact, just before we came in here, there was an announcement for huge increase in militarization on the border. We are living in frightening times. The end of humanitarian parole programs that established a safe and carefully controlled pathway for certain populations to live and work in the United States, such as Ukrainians, Haitians, Venezuelans, Nicaraguans, and Cubans, and the termination of TPS, or temporary protected status. And today it was announced that this would be terminated for folks from Afghanistan and Cameroon. Sharply and dramatically increasing the capacity for deportation of immigrant communities, including many reported cases of folks with legal status here, being removed and detained in mega prisons in El Salvador, a place infamous for its mistreated detainees, effectively ending asylum for people fleeing violence and persecution, and a great deal more, all of which is announced with dehumanizing and vitriolic rhetoric about immigrant communities, as well as conspiracy theories about an invasion, which are untrue and dangerous. In fact, just a few days ago, the Acting Director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, Todd Lyons, said that his dream for the agency is to see a deportation process like Amazon Prime, but with human beings. We need to get better at treating this like a business, he said. Dehumanizing indeed. There are vitally important debates and conversations a society must have about how and where we make these investments and what limits or constraints are prudent. But what is happening now is not that. It is not a corrective to overreach or a reset of a broken system. It's cruelty enacted as policy. When I pause and I actually let myself think about the people behind the statistics, it is hard to stay strong. The Afghans, such as the families that you helped, who risk their lives to help Americans, who continue to live in dangerous conditions, hoping and waiting in desperation and fear to come to the US, only to be told they cannot board the plane. The families who risk everything because they have no other choice, making the treacherous journey through the Darien Gap and coming north, doing everything the right way, only to have it cancelled as they approach the border for the appointment. The Haitian man and his son who fled after getting shot and almost kidnapped, stripped of their humanitarian parole status and left in legal limbo, vulnerable to deportation. It is devastating and overwhelming and disorienting. And that is the point. The shock and awe tactics are designed to leave us feeling hopeless and powerless. And we will not give in to the woe that our society has reached, but to draw from every ounce of agency and moral clarity we have as Jews to bring our humanity into a deeply broken world. It is that message that drives HIAS's mission. As we often say at HIAS, we used to fight for refugees and immigrants because they were Jewish. Now we do so because we are Jewish and are obligated to do so. So we stand today with our immigrant neighbours and with refugees striving to find safety in the US. We stand against ripping apart families, against stripping people of their right to even go before an immigration judge to tell their side of the story, against the grave economic impact these terrible decisions will have, against allowing ICE to raid schools and places of worship, against cutting off federal funds to help refugees who are already in the United States or who have been cleared after more thorough vetting than anyone else entering the US to make a new life here. That is why HIAS is fighting in the courts against these cruel, misguided cuts. We are part of 2 lawsuits where we are suing both to reinstate the refugee resettlement program and the US State Department funding for overseas humanitarian aid. It's reported that ICE detention facilities around the US are at 109% capacity, with close to 42,000 migrant detainees. This means that ICE will have to expedite and increase removals of detainees to catch up with the rate they are apprehending people. In fact, the administration, as we just heard from the rabbi, has invoked the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 in order just to do that. While the act was invoked to target particular gang members for removal, reports indicate that individuals who have no connection to the gang and were seeking asylum in the US were removed as well. I am sure many of you have been following this awful story. It is now being used recklessly, ignoring any notion of due process and sending people to a country that is not their own, where they are at a great risk of danger and even torture. It also means that this administration is opening up more detention centres, not just in Guantanamo. You might also have heard about the imminent reopening of a 1,000-bed, privately run detention centre in Newark, New Jersey. You might also have heard that Mayor Adams has now followed through on his commitment to issue an executive order allowing ICE to open up an office on Rikers Island. On Thursday, there was actually a significant turnout for a rally at City Hall against this, and then the City Hall passed a resolution allowing them to move forward with a lawsuit against the mayor for this executive order. So how can you help? Apart from turning out for those rallies and all of those other things, which are very important, even though they sometimes feel pointless, they aren't. As always, what powers HIAS is the strength of our base and your willingness to help, advocate, and speak up. We need your actions now more than ever. And I know so many of you are already doing many things, and there are so many issues that we could be working on, and we really get that. But this is a huge part of what makes New York special. We are a diverse community, and we come together in moments and fight for each other. So I want to offer some opportunities for you to help, some ideas, and I know Jolie has many ideas as well, and Leslie has some red cards that I will mention in a minute as well, so you are in good hands. But there are many ways of support to support our most vulnerable and newest neighbours. A few of them are, there are many rapid response networks. These are often hyper-local efforts that respond in real time to immigration enforcement actions by showing up on site and bearing witness. There are ways to get into these. You can follow up with me and I can connect you into them. They're mostly signal groups, but hopefully you won't be added into one where you find out about bombing. You can also, there are Know Your Rights trainings. I think that's in one of the planning stages of things are here. I know many people have caregivers who they are worried about, and this is it's a really important way of being able to share information with them, to understand their rights, and for you to understand your rights as well as an employer. You can accompany impacted individuals to deportation hearings, to ICE check-ins and other appointments. In fact, HIAS has a volunteer program that can help connect you into that. You can actually form a welcome circle for asylum seekers being represented by our HIAS legal team. That is a new opportunity in a pilot project that we're running. It would be a little bit like being a host organization that you did already with the Afghan families. And I believe, Jolie, that you are going to put out or provide in the future the 5 things you can do handout, which the Synagogue Coalition has led in being part of. And that's a really good way of knowing like the 5 things this month that you can take action on really easily. There's HIAS's action guide. You can consider amplifying HIAS's statements, action alerts, resources, and social media platforms. We are on Blue Sky and all of the normal ones except for X. Please contact Congress to demand our representatives continue to shed light on the unprecedented assault on our humanitarian system. Again, it feels thankless, but it's an important thing to do as well, and our local representatives. And there will be advocacy opportunities as the federal budget debate moves forward. Locally, there are lots of state bills. I can provide a list of those. There are lots of opportunities to advocate around that for representation locally for immigrants, and a statewide sanctuary bill. Obviously, your donations are incredibly helpful to your local networks and to HIAS to make sure that this work can continue. Financial support fuels litigation, advocacy and mobilization to provide legal support services to asylum seekers, to challenge mass deportations and keep as many life-saving programs around the world alive as we possibly can amidst these devastating cuts. So, just to finish up, on Passover, we have the opportunity to remind ourselves why we do this work, to remind ourselves that this is our sacred obligation, amplified by our historic communal experience. Let us tell our original story of becoming strangers in a strange land and of our most recent personal immigration stories, and let us heed Wiesel's admonition, woe to our society if to be human becomes a heroic act. In every era, we commit again and again to strive forward towards our humanity. In this way, we remind ourselves of our capacity for kindness and ability to rise, to help, even with our flaws, and that when we are what we are intended to be, we are good. Shabbat Shalom.
Can you stick around during the oneg?
I can stick around for a bit.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
so we'll have questions and things,
perfect.
Opportunity to engage with Isabel. Can we thank Isabel for being with us?
If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell me when. I see sorrow and trouble in this land. I see sorrow and trouble in this land. Although there will be struggle, we'll make the change we can. If not now, tell me when. Let me hear you. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell me when. I may never see the promised land. I may never see the promised land. And yet there will be journey and walk it hand in hand. If not now, tell me when. We'll work until it's done. Every daughter, every son, every soul that ever longed for something better, something brighter. Oh, it'll take a change of heart for this to mend. It'll take a change of heart for this to mend. But miracles do happen, every shining now and then. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell me when. We invite you to rise as we continue with Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
At this moment in our service, we think of loved ones who have died. As always, we will read a list of names of people who have died recently and in years past. And if you heard the name of someone you loved, we invite you please to stand. Additionally, if you're so moved, we invite you or your family to come forward to take one stone from this small bowl and place it in this memory bowl, symbolizing that the memory of the person you loved is still with you. We will add stones each week as we add our memories to the memories of our fellow congregants. After we read the list of names we know about, we'll invite anyone who is remembering someone they loved and who has died to mention that person's name aloud, and also come forward if you wish to place a stone in our memory bowl. In the period of Shloshim, we remember Sonia Kaufman, a member of our congregation, Victor Stanley Ostrower, father of Sam Ostrower, Bruce S. Feldman, father of Rabbi Marla Feldman, Edward Zerlin, father of Jill Grover, Jack Feigenbaum, father of Joy Feigenbaum Kaplan, Marion Katz, mother of Lisa Lazarus, Ondine Chris, aunt of Itai Chris, Sheila Barbara Jacobson, mother of Richard Jacobson, Steve Mittman, father of Howard Mittman, and these whose yahrzeits, the anniversaries of their deaths, are marked at this time: Samuel Aaron, Esther Ash, Rebecca Colbersh Breen, Elizabeth Inches Chamberlain, Betty Chaprack, Geraldine Cohen, Faye Deutsch, Doris Gilman Elias, Julia Engelman, David Fishman, Henry M. Frank, Judith Gamron, Bernard Glick, Helena Kagan Goldberg, Stacy Hope Goldberg, Harry M. Goldstein, Rebecca Gordon, Elise L.C. Greenfield, Brian Ingber, Jeanette C. Carlson, Carol Labov, Louis Loffer, Hilda Lieberman,
Henrietta Littman, June Rose Luntz, Alan Murray Myers, Joel Nassar, Rose Natinsky, Diane Nissenbaum, Molly Pines, Leo Presser, Sam Rock, Edna N. Rothschild, Lee Salzinger, Celia Shalita, Samuel Shapiro, Joan Sherman, Fanny Sperber, Julia J. Steinler, Bernard Tabachman, Joel Taman, Hanshin Wallerstein, Min Wasserman, Edward I. Waxman, Avery Weinberg, and Jacob S. Zimmerman.
If there are others that you're remembering, we invite you please to rise and mention your loved one's name aloud. Zichronam livracha, may their memories live as an enduring blessing. We remember as well those who have no one left to say Kaddish for them. In that spirit, we rise together as a community for Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, trushbechata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru, amen. Please be seated.
Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen.
It's my honor to call forward a leader of our congregation, Jeff Osterer, to bring some greetings.
Good evening and Shabbat Shalom, an early Hag Sameach to everyone and their families. There are a few programming items that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention tonight. Sunday, April 13th, there will be an online-only Passover service at 10 a.m. Saturday, April 19th at 10 a.m., there will be a Shabbat morning minyan and the seventh-day Passover service with Yisker at 10:15 a.m. Friday, April 18th at 6:15, we would love for everyone to join us as we recognize Michael Laufer, who has served on the URJ board for 16 years. Our Artist in Residence weekend is just around the corner as well, starting on Erev Shabbat services with Becky Mann on April 25th and continues throughout that entire weekend. There will be a sandwich Saturday on a Sunday on April 27th at 11:45 a.m. If you're interested in joining Rabbi Mosbacher and Cantor Kipnis on an adult civil rights journey to Georgia and Alabama in October, there is a Zoom informational meeting on April 28th at 7:30 p.m. If you have not yet voted, I urge everyone to please vote for the 2025 World Zionist Congress. Please register to vote for that, and if you need assistance, come up to myself and the ONEG or anybody else. Lastly, everyone's favorite night out on the town, the annual Spring Gala honoring Lori Rubin and Seth Frank, will be on Wednesday, May 7th at 6 p.m. at a new venue, the River Park Restaurant. You will not want to miss this, so please remember to get your tickets as there are still some tickets left. For all these events and more, please make sure you check out the weekly for your email. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Two things about the World Zionist Congress. Leslie Wagner you'll be at the table outside or roaming around helping people. I know you guys needed some help voting, so Harriet and Albert are going to come find you. And many people in this room I know have already voted, and you're like, okay, I'm done. No, you're not done. You're probably, maybe, hopefully, probably, possibly going to a Seder, and it's possible that not everybody at the Seder has voted. So if you voted, please ask the other people to vote, and as we've been saying all along, unusually we're telling you who we would prefer you vote for, and that's the vote reform slate, which is slate number 3, on which I'm running, and Rabbi Rubin and Michael Laufer and Marla Gammon and Sumi Okazaki. Check it out, and we hope that you'll vote and help other people to vote. Additionally, you'll see, along with all the other amazing work we're doing as a congregation, there's a flyer in the Davis Auditorium with what's called a How Are You Doing survey. It's a mental health assessment. We are participants together with our community organizing network with a major mayoral accountability action on June 1st. You're going to hear a lot more about that. We're invited all the mayoral candidates to speak to what will hopefully be several thousand New Yorkers, including us. And there's a number of issues that are going to be kind of discussed with the candidates there, and one has to do with access to mental health. So there's this survey. It's anonymous. We invite you to fill it out if you can. We want to get as much data as we can so we can speak with some understanding about how our fellow citizens, all of us, are feeling as far as our mental health in this time. So please fill out the survey if you can. We have a Counting the Omer program starting on April 16th. Yom HaShoah is coming up on April 23rd. As Jeff said, many things going on, so we hope that you'll be with us for all of them. Shall we conclude with music? What shall we conclude with, Cantor?
We'll conclude with Olam Chesed Yibaneh, that if we build the world from love, then God will build this world from love. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. 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 I will build this world from love, Yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. Build this world from love, yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. we build this world from love, ya-la-la-la-la, ya-la-la-la. And God will build this world from love, ya-la-la-la-la, ya-la-la-la. Olam chesed yibaneh, 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 ya-la-la-la-la, ya-la-la-la. I will build this world from love, ya-la-la-la-la, ya-la-la-la. And you must build this world from love, ya-la-la-la-la, ya-la-la-la. And if we build this world from love, ya-la-la-la-la, ya-la-la-la. And God will build this world from love, ya-la-la-la-la, ya-la-la-la.
Thanks again to Isabel for being with us and for the work that you do all the time. We are grateful to you for that, and we look forward to continuing to be partners with you in that work. Soon we will eat the bread of affliction, but for now it's Shabbat. We get to eat challah, so please join with me as we offer this blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Please join us next door.
guess I'm already paid in advance for the next this one and the next 3.
Right, you probably won't get much. Yeah, exactly. What's everyone doing for this? Are you guys doing seders or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with friends. This is like my uncle here.
Okay.
With my brother, big one, 20 people.
Really? Nice.
Cooking up
Oh,
stuff.
your brother's in the city?
I have 2 brothers in the city. Yeah.
Really? Huh.
Kind of amazing, yeah.
Older, younger?
Twin and young.
Twin? Oh, you have a twin? I didn't know you were a twin. How did I know that?
5 minutes older than me.
Identical twin? Identical twin? Really? You could just show up and start playing drums? And
He probably could. He's very talented. He's a visual artist.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
He actually does some shows with music. Guy and I work with him.
Really?
Huh. He's a dictator.
Dictator?
I'm a little more mellow. He's a dictator. He ordered us.
Right, yeah. Well,
It's part of the show too.
I mean, it was it's part of the concept. And also, you can't argue with the boss.
What are you doing for, are you doing a seder?
Yeah, I had the whole family coming. My mom
Oh,
flew
really?
over from Israel.
Ah.
My uncle flew
you're
over
hosting the
from
Seder?
in London. I'm hosting.
Ah.
Yeah, we have the whole, been cooking for 3 days already.
Have you really?
Yeah,
Do you cook?
yeah.